Big data. What is it? In this course, we will cover what is big data, introduction, characteristics of big data, storing, selecting and processing of big data, why big data, how is it different, big data sources, tools used in big data, applications of big data, risks of big data, benefit of big data, how big data impacts on IT, future of big data. Big data may well be the next big thing in the IT world. Big data burst upon the scene on the first decade of the 21st century. The first organizations to embrace it were online and startup firms. Firms like Google, eBay, LinkedIn, and Facebook were built around big data from the beginning. Like many new information technologies, big data can bring about dramatic cost reductions, substantial improvements in the time required to perform a computing task, or new products and service offerings. What is big data? Big data is similar to smaller data, but bigger in size. But having data bigger, it requires different approaches, techniques, tools, and architecture, and aim to solve new problems or old problems in a better way. Big data generates value from the storage and processing of very quantities of digital information that cannot be analyzed with traditional computing techniques. Example: Walmart handles more than 1 million customer transactions every hour. Facebook handles 40 billion photos from its user base. Decoding the human genome originally took 10 years to process. Now it can be achieved in 1 week. Three characteristics of big data, or V3s. They are data quantity, that is the volume, data types, that is the variety, and data speed, that is the velocity. Volume. A typical PC might have had 10 gigabytes of storage in 2000. Today, Facebook ingests 500 terabytes of new data every day. Boeing 737 will generate 420 terabytes of flights data during the single flight across the US. The smartphones, the data they create and consume, sensors embedded into everyday objects will soon result in billions of new constantly updated data feeds containing environmental, location, and other information including video. Velocity. Clickstreams and ad impressions capture user behavior at millions of events per second. High frequency stock trading algorithms reflect market changes within microseconds. Machine to machine processes exchange data between billions of devices. Infrastructure and sensors generate massive log data in real time. Online gaming systems support millions of concurrent users, each producing multiple inputs per second. Variety. Big data isn't just numbers, data and strings. Big data is also geospatial data, 3D data, audio and video, and unstructured text, including log files and social media. Traditional database systems were designed to address similar volumes of structured data, fewer updates, or a predictable, consistent data structure. Big data analytics include different types of data. Storing big data. Analyzing your data characteristics. Selecting data source for analysis. Eliminating redundant data. Establishing the role of NoSQL. Overview of big data stores. Data models. Key value, graph, document, column family. Hadoop distributed file system, HBase, Hive. Selecting big data stores. Choosing the correct data stores based on your characteristics. Moving code to data. Implementing polyglot data store solutions. Aligning business goals to the appropriate data store. Processing big data. Integrating disparate data stores. Mapping data to the programming framework. Connecting and extracting data from storage. Transforming data for processing, subdividing data in preparation for Hadoop MapReduce. Employing Hadoop MapReduce, creating the components of Hadoop MapReduce jobs, distributing data processing across server farms, executing Hadoop MapReduce jobs, monitoring the progress of job flows. The structure of big data. Structured, most traditional data sources. Semi-structured, many sources of big data. Unstructured, video data, audio data. Why big data? Growth of big data is needed. Increase of storage capacities, increase of processing power, availability of different data types. Every day we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. 90% of the data in the world today has been created in the last 2 years alone. FB generates 10 TB data daily. Twitter generates 7 terabytes of data daily. IBM claims 90% of today's stored data was generated in just the last 2 years. How is big data different? Automatically generated by a machine, example sensor embedded in an engine. Not designed to be friendly. Typically an entirely new source of data. May not have much values and need to focus on the important part. Benefits of big data analytics are examining a large amount of data, identification of hidden patterns, unknown correlations, effective marketing, customer satisfaction, increased revenue, appropriate information, better business decisions, strategic and operational, competitive advantage. Types of big data tools used. Where is processing hosted? Distributed servers or cloud? For example, Amazon EC2. Where is data stored? Distributed storage. Example, Amazon S3. What is programming model? Distributed processing. Example, MapReduce. How data is stored and indexed? High performance schema free database. Example, MongoDB. What operations are performed on data? Analytic or semantic processing. Application of big data analytics. Big data analytics can be used in multiple domains such as smart healthcare, manufacturing, trading analytics, multi-channel sales, homeland security, traffic monitoring, telecom, search quality. Risks of big data will be so overwhelmed. Need the right people and solve the right problem. Costs escalate too fast. Isn't necessary to capture 100%. Many sources of big data is privacy, so it requires self-regulation and legal regulation. Leading technology vendors are example vendors IBM Netezza, EMC Greenplum, Oracle Extradata, Commonality, MPP architectures, commodity hardware, RDBMS based, full SQL compliance. How big data impacts on information technology. Big data is a troublesome force presenting opportunities with challenges to the IT organizations. In 2015, 4.4 million IT jobs in big data and 1.9 million in US itself. India will require a minimum of 1 lakh data scientists in the next couple of years, in addition to the data analysts and the data managers to support the big data space. Potential value of big data. 300 billion potential annual value to US healthcare. 600 billion potential annual consumer surplus from using personal location data. 60% potential in retailers' operating margins. Benefits of big data. Real-time big data isn't just a process for storing petabytes or exabytes of data in a data warehouse. It's about the ability to make better decisions and take meaningful actions at the right time. Fast forward to the present, and technologies like Hadoop give you the scale and flexibility to store data before you know how you are going to process it. Technologies such as MapReduce, Hive, and Impala enable you to run queries without changing the data structures underneath. Our newest research finds that organizations that are using big data to target customer-centric outcomes tap into internal data and build a better information ecosystem. Big data is already an important part of the $64 billion database and data analytics market. It offers a commercial opportunities to a comparable scale to enterprise software in the late 1980s and the internet born in the 1990s and the social media explosion of today. Big data generates value from the storage and processing of very large quantities of digital information that cannot be analyzed with traditional computing techniques. The first organizations to embrace it were online and startup firms. Firms like Google, eBay, LinkedIn, and Facebook were built around big data from the beginning. Volume, variety, and velocity are the characteristics of big data. Traditional database systems were designed to address smaller volumes of structured data, fewer updates, or a predictable, consistent data structure. Every day, we create 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. 90% of the data in the world today has been created in the last 2 years alone. Big data is typically an entirely new source of data which may not have much values. Need to focus on the important part. Amazon EC2, Amazon S3, MapReduce, MongoDB, and Analytics Semantic Processing are the types of big data tools used. India will require a minimum of 1 lakh data scientists in the next couple of years, in addition to data analysts and data managers to support big data space. Big data is already an important part of the $64 billion database and the data analytics market. Thank you. KloudLearn Incorporated is headquartered in Silicon Valley, California. Our mission is to help enterprises provide an engaging and impactful learning experience that improves business performance. We provide the industry's most modern LMS. For more information, visit us at www.cloudlearn.com or reach out to us at info@cloudlearn.com.